Hello and welcome to another Silverness Gaming video. We are playing Dagon, a game I just found on Steam and it looked kinda good and it was free. Yeet. Put my headphones on here. Dagon is a faithful adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work focused on the story and atmosphere. It will not find you will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here. The movement is limited to progressing through the locations along with the plot. So like you just carry stuff and bring it?
I'm writing this under an appreciable
Jesus, that's
strain,
loud.
since by tonight I shall be no more.
Why are you no more? Ooh, this looks nice. During the game, you'll encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story. It is historical background and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes on the Elder Sign. You can also access them by all the found facts letters. Facts later, sorry. They will be available in the main menu.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
But why?
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Is this... Oh, so you just interact with different things. What is this? Morphine entered into these... Blah, blah, blah. It's just morphine. Okay, I know what morphine is.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
The hell? Do I get the move in this or no? The hell just happened?
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Oh, that's some cool graphics right there.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who were established a domain in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids who also developed powerful composite, I don't know, bows, lacerauses, and early siege weapons. During the World War I, the British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops on the 27th of July 1900 before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, you will be defeated. No quarter will be given, no prisoners will be taken. Whoever falls into the hands is forfeit. Those, just as 1,000 years ago, the Huns under their king Attila made a name for themselves, one that not even today makes them seem as mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way that China such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. God damn it, my fucking dyslexia, I swear to God. The refusal to take prisoners was a clear breach of law and customs, customs of a war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Yeah? Wait, if they're so good, where are you trying to escape?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
I wonder if these are accurate. Kind of look like it.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Oh.
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
I wonder if just being out at sea, your boat could just fill up with water.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
He's just looking at the sky now.
The change happened whilst I slept.
Ooh.
Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
What the fuck? It's a bunch of squid. I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see. And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Bruh.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish, and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Bruh. It looked a lot bigger, but I guess we were just sunk into the mud.
I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Like the entire sea just got drained.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
Yeah, no, don't walk toward it.
As
It
I
was
crawled
tentacles.
into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Yeah.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing
the
regions for
fuck?
which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths. So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might. Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Wait, is he having a dream, or...?
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
The fuck is that thing? I thought it was behind here as well. Oh, it still is. That's real unfortunate.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Wouldn't it be best from the state at the boat? Like, God knows how far that shit is. And there's food. And there's fire, or what you can make fire out of. He's bound to have oil that he used in his lamp.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
I think they forgot the physics on that
The
one.
fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Fishy. Dead fishy. Why do you keep walking over it?
All day
What
I
the
forged
fuck?
steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
I expected this to be like a thing, like a fever dream or something. You woke back up from it. So it went like, ooh, scary, then it went back to normal. But no, it just went, ooh, scary, and what the fuck? The hell? I don't even know what those things are. Scary monsters. Well, that's just a whale. A dead whale. I wonder if it could still be alive.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
So there was I have two questions. What the fuck are these strange creatures? What, they're probably like servants of Cthulhu or some dumb shit? Something like that. And then there was that pulsating hill.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
That's probably an underwater
An
mountain.
intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface. Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night, but ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain, I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Wait. Did he just go into a second dream?
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
Well, I guess he was just hallucinating and woke up.
And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Why?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Well, that's kind of how it works. But considering that you're...
Indeed,
I don't know.
I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
If you just took the whole ocean away, like, say average... Oh shit, I can zoom. It took the
Picking
whole...
up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
If you just took the whole ocean away, would it be hotter weather at the bottom? Or would it be warmer weather? I just said a dumb thing. Would it be hotter water at the bottom or colder water? Weather. God damn. My smooth brain. Okay, what the hell now? Oh.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine. I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night. Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost, and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
What do you mean?
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent, whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
What the fuck?
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I
hell?
scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath, gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated.
Watermelons are going to eat our ass.
All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
3.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Yeah, but it's
I was
fucking
conscious
flat.
of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
What? Don't have the bird. Yeet.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures. Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
How did you do that? Just walk up to it?
The moon,
Whoa.
now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm,
Oh, shit.
and revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope. Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the Cyclopean monolith,
Ooh.
on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
What's up there?
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Looks like a bunch of ancient creatures plus a few modern ones.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world, but whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Which one? The middle one? Storytelling methods. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, at Mountains of Madness, The Nameless City, journals and character notes, The Shadow Out of Time, The Haunter of the Dark, Islands Emerged from the Ocean, Call of Cthulhu. Oh, it's like saying like different games, I think, that are based. Or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies. Migo and the Whispering in the Darkness. I've never heard of that one. Maybe I'll play that. It's considered the origin of popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also include, in manner, something to Dagon. But let's skip to the details in order not to spoil the ending. I don't even know what this letter is because I never actually looked at his works.
Across the intervening water, on account of their enormous size, were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a Doré. I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto, or paying homage at some monolithic shrine which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Wait, so all that stuff, is that supposed to be like above the waves and this is below the waves?
Their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer. They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Oof.
I remarked,
Big boy.
as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe.
That made a monolith at the bottom of the ocean.
Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. Awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist, I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
What? What did you see?
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Christ! That actually scared me.
It darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith, about which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
What the hell?
I think I went mad then. Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
He got the fuck out.
I believe I sang a great deal and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
It's like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm sometime after I reached the boat. At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods.
Well,
When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital. Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean. In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention. Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
what the fuck?
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
What's this? Who's Dagon? Dagon was the main deity of the Philistines worshipped throughout the Middle East. As an ancient god of fertility and crops, in Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, Mesopotamia, chose him as a patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in the Austrian poem and an underworld prison wonder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name. As in Hebrew, the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones, a humanoid race with fish traits that reside in the ocean. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Asterotic Order of Dagon? Oh, we got some backstory right there.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Bruh. Another question. August Dermish in the Cthulhu mythos. August Delamith was an American writer and anthropologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works throughout his company, Akram House. Although he has greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's work, after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of his most questionable decisions involved in introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derelith was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which contrasted with the Lovecraft's view of the world as his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's work are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology and that the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Okay. Is that... Oh, it's Necronomicon. I just noticed that. Oh. I can actually look all around me for once. I can't look back. I can only turn one way. Okay, what about this? Am I just walking around the room, or... I think that was a way to find another secret thing, but...
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing. I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Was he addicted to it?
So now, I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
Why must you kill yourself? It's not good. Lovecraft on tobacco and alcohol. Lovecraft hated tobacco even though he used to smoke when he was 12 in order to look and feel like an adult in his correspondence with his friends. Rigert Keller, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced by his letter to Zila Brown, dated 13th February 1928. As the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intend to. Having a strong ethnetic disgust at anything which blunts or cowardices the delicate nature God, I can't read this. Expertise of the evolved human intellect and imagination. ... Drinking evicted my personal repugnance. Hence, I do not drink. Let it be heard. Do what they will. I am rather in favor of prohibition. The prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as of any other. Source: the script of Reverse Lovecraft's letter, and Zella Brown reads. Okay, it's actually just sourcing it. A little thing I wanted to mention. He said he smoked at 12. Like, people back then thought smoking was healthy, so even, like, children did it, like, very often.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man-of-war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite. I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
What the fuck? Oh shit, those aren't boats.
The end is near. I hear a noise notice at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
What the? Like, are they actually attacking right now?
It shall not find me.
Oh no, I think it's just someone knocking the door and he's hallucinating.
God, that hand! The window! The window!